If we just go back 10 years, back in 1975 on the liner notes to Metal Machine Music, and I'll quote this, you said that you hope the intelligence that once inhabited novels and films would ingest rock. Now on the new album, New Sensations, there's a song called Doing the Things That We Want To, where you say that there's not much to hear on the radio today, but you can still see a movie or a play. Does that mean that your hopes haven't been fulfilled?
That my personal hopes haven't been fulfilled? Oh, I don't know. It's a long ball game. You never know what's going to happen. I've been interested more or less with what would happen if a Raymond Chandler wrote a rock and roll song. I tried to do that with a thing called Street Hassle. It's just, it's my own private ambitions I'm concerned with. I'm not interested in wish fulfillment in other areas for other people. It's just my own personal ambition. So when you ask a question like that, it's the real question is, do I think it's worked for me? Sure. And the answer to that is yes.
Around the time of Blue Mask, it seemed that your touring days were pretty well over, were certainly your heavy touring days. But here you are back on a world tour and you've sort of reached a new high profile. You've appeared on Entertainment This Week and so on. What's brought that change around?
Well, I mean, a high profile for me, not for other people, necessarily. What brought that around? The record sold.
But you obviously enjoy playing too.
Yeah, but it's hard to get a tour together when you don't sell many records.
What do you listen to in your leisure time?
I listen to the radio like everybody else.
Do you buy records?
Yeah, a lot of records.
Anybody in particular?
CDs now. It's gotten even more expensive. I can listen to almost the worst thing in the world on a CD. It's amazing what it sounds like. For all you people out there, a CD is really worth it.
Do you listen to your own records?
Even when they're not on CD, I listen to them. Yeah.
What's your favorite at the moment?
Oh, my favorite is always the last one. Always. Because I always feel the last one went a little bit further than the ones before it.
People staying at home watching video movies and more teenagers going out to see movies for the sights of movies.
Are you asking me this as an older people? Or
No, not at all, not at all.
Teenager?
As a teenager. The sights of movie makers are being lowered. We get movies that are really popular but maybe aren't that good, like Police Academy or Porky's.
I like Police Academy. No, I mean, you know, everything has its place. I mean, one day we wanted to see something really gross and stupid, and Police Academy was perfect. You know, when you're in that kind of mood, you don't want to think. You don't want to even have to follow the jokes too well. You want something really that's just right in your face, and that's what Police Academy was. I don't know if they teach it at film school, but, you know, Thursday afternoon at 2, it was okay.
Do you think that the sights of rock music have been lowered in the same way? That we're getting...
I don't know that it ever had any sights. You know, it's not you're using a generic term, you know, rock music. I mean, who is rock music? You know, it's just individual people and bands and their own private ambitions, and I don't know anyone else's except my own, so I can't speak for anybody else other than me.
Who do you aim your records at?
I like to aim it at everybody. I would like to hope that you could get, at the very least, get a good laugh out of me. And then if you wanted more than that, that it would be there too. I mean, I've always hoped to combine a certain literate thoughtfulness that wouldn't put people off rock records. That you could still have fun with the guitars and drums, but if you leaned in, there would be, not Dostoevsky, but there would be something of substance there that you might find, if not illuminating, at least interesting. But at the very least, I would hope I would be good for a laugh.
I've always been impressed by your sense of humor, actually. That's obviously important to you.
Yeah, it's dry. I've been told I should smile when I tell a joke, so I've been practicing.
Before we came up from Wellington to do the interview, we were watching A Night with Lou Reed, and as a fan, I was really impressed by your guitar work. Do you feel that's been overlooked by a lot of people?
That's a good answer. I just haven't thought of it that way. It's, I've been working harder at it lately. It's only a few things I'm interested in. You know, I don't have a big complex of interests. It's just some very specific interests. And I put basically everything into that. And I just try to, I've been working on making the guitar playing, like the writing, more simpler.
Why are you in rock and roll rather than any other sort of art form? It seems to me that you could equally be a short story writer or perhaps even a novelist.
Because I really like rock and roll, and I love the idea of combining the two interests of writing and doing rock and roll. It was like putting together two things I like best.
In the minds of many people, you're very much the rock and roll animal. That seems to me to be a brief phase of a very long career.
Well, see, by rock and roll animal, I meant somebody who is very passionate about rock and roll, really likes rock and roll. I didn't mean a rock and roll animal.
Right.
But, you know, each to their own. I don't run around saying to people, well, that's not what I meant, you know.
You've said in the past that your songs aren't necessarily autobiographical, that you assume a role in the songs. It seems that the last three albums, particularly Blue Mask and Legendary Hearts, were more personal. Would that be true?
Maybe. I'm a great one for exaggerating. You know, I take a small thing and make it as though it was a big thing. Or I combine something that happened to me with something that happened to somebody I know, and then I make it all happen to one person. So it is, but it isn't.
You've played, as I just said, other roles on record. Have you ever thought of getting into acting?
Yeah, I was in a couple of movies. I was kind of interested in seeing how they made movies more than actually being in it. And I needed the money at the time, so. It's really boring making movies. I mean, it's not like rock and roll where you just get out there and do it, and you just sit around for hours doing nothing. But, yeah, I don't know. Acting without a guitar is a whole other thing.
The next clip that we're going to play on the show is Red Joystick. Have computer games replaced pinball for you? Well,
it's just, I don't have a place big enough to put pinball games in, you know, lots of pinball games, and, you know, there's some interesting computer games. No, they don't replace pinball. I happen to believe that if pinball had been invented after computer games, it would be this incredible new, you know, tactile game where you could shove it around. People would be really amazed by it. It's just that they break so easily compared to video games, and they take up so much space.
You'd ever retire?
I've never thought about that.
What do you do from here then?
What do? I'm going to Hawaii and renting myself a Harley.